本イベントでは、金融庁、フィンテックアソシエーションオブジャパンの協力のもと、日本、イスラエルのフィンテック分野での専門家をご紹介するとともに、ブロックチェーン、セキュリティ、データ管理などのソリューションをテーマに、イスラエルのスタートアップ企業をご紹介することが目的です。また、ウェビナーの後には自由に質疑応答のできるミートアップのお時間を用意しておりますので、皆様最後までぜひご参加ください。それでは、これよりセミナーを開始するにあたりまして、駐日イスラエル大使館経済公使、ダニエル・コルバーよりご挨拶がございます。ダニエルさん、よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。こんにちは、皆さん。ダニエルです。This is a pleasure, a great pleasure for me, for us at the Economic and Trade Mission of Israel and Japan to organize this webinar, and we'd like to thank our partners and all of you for attending, and of course the Israeli companies joining us today, and our keynote speakers. We at the Economic and Trade Mission of Israel and Japan, our objective is to give exposure to technology from Israel, create business opportunities for Israeli companies and for Japanese companies. And luckily, as we celebrate 70 years of diplomatic relations, economic ties between Israel and Japan have never been stronger. We hear more and more about investments from Japanese companies and Israeli companies and vice versa. Almost 100 Japanese companies have offices in Israel doing R&D, doing innovation, big companies, and more are planning to come. And I would say dozens of Israeli startups opening offices in Japan. So this is all great news. And we'd like to see more. So this is the webinar is for that. I hope you all enjoy it. We'll have 1 hour of presentations and then breakout rooms. So I encourage you to be proactive, to interact with Israeli companies, and to be in touch with us. Those of you who are not familiar with us, please be in touch with us, and wishing you all good luck and enjoy the upcoming hour and a half, which I know I will. And thank you, Suguru-san, for organizing. ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。それでは、これよりウェビナーの方を始めさせていただきます。その1点注意事項がございまして、今回のウェビナーはブレイクアウトルームへの移行をスムーズにするために、ミーティング形式で行っております。つきましては、参加者の皆様は、ビデオの方と、あとマイクの方をオフにしていただけますようよろしくお願いします。それでは、基調講演に移らさせていただきたいと思います。まずはじめに、Fintech-Aviv のプレジデント、タル・シャロンさんより、イスラエルのフィンテック事情についてお話がございます。タルさん、floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I really hope that you'll enjoy the session that the Israeli mission created for you, and thank you for allowing me to participate. We don't have a lot of time. I'm gonna put in 10 minutes what I usually deliver in 2 hours. So let me share my screen and give you a short overview of what is all the fuss about the Israeli fintech landscape. In short, my name is Tal. I'm managing partner at Equitech fintech firm. We're working with financial institutions around the world on fintech transformation, anything from investments, adoption of technology. We have a fintech academy program doing a lot of research and analysis. On the other side, working with, say, 150 fintechs that we're actively in touch. We mapped more than 600. So we have a very broad view of technology side, working in various markets. In addition, I'm president of the Fintech-Aviv, the Israeli Fintech Association. It's one of the largest fintech communities globally. We have over 40,000. All the content is in English. You can join our events every time. We do about every quarter. We have at least one event on a sub-segment or topic in fintech. So tomorrow, actually, we're going to have an event about KYC and processes, and we're more than happy to see you. It's available both in person and hybrid. Some of the partners that we have in Fintech-Aviv and the various associations we are in contact with. So in general, we created this hub to connect between the Israeli landscape and the multinationals. But the question remains is why the interest is so high. So several facts about the Israeli fintech landscape. First, we rank second globally in amount of investment per capita, which is very important because market awareness towards fintech is very high, and this is what generates that. Everyone here in Israel uses at least one fintech app, if it's from the financial institutions or from fintechs. 70% of total investment are done by foreign investors and multinationals. So most of the capital injection is coming from various markets, and it correlates well with the fact that the Israeli startups, 90% of them have a global market focus. So they don't even, from the day one, they focus on a challenge in a global market that they want to achieve, and this correlates well with the number of financial institutions coming from abroad to see them. More than $8 billion invested since 2019, and this is a staggering amount. What happened in 2021 was astonishing. From a total of $26 billion, which were the total high-tech, say, capital raise, 4.4 billion were raised in fintech, which represent more than 370% growth from 2020, and 70% of the investment were focused on payment, anti-fraud, or insurtech. Pretty much, there's almost any subsegment of technology you'll find in Israel. You can see here that the 4.5 was really a number that was a figure that was surprising. We didn't have that in previous years, and it truly affected it had a significant effect on the market. And the fintech share in all of that, so it keeps growing. And right now, the total share from fintech from total high tech is 17%, which is very high. It makes it the fourth largest innovation pillar in Israel, alongside digital health, cybersecurity, and agritech. In terms of stages, we also see one of the reasons that 2021 was such a phenomenal year was because of mega rounds. There were a lot of mega rounds, 13 mega rounds in 2021. Some companies that perhaps you heard of, some unicorns, like Payoneer, Fundit, Rapid. There's a lot of information to tell about each one of them. I'm pretty sure that Ito is probably more common, or I think you might have heard of. In InsurTech, we also have a phenomenal growth. So Hippo and Lemonade, Hippo just went public, I think, last year. A lot of these companies actually went public last year with the SPAC phenomena, also Payoneer. Next Insurance, some of the acquisitions that we had in the past 2 years. So actually, the Israeli companies are growing through acquisitions. It's a phenomena that we haven't seen in the past. Usually, the Israeli companies are being bought, being the target of the acquisitions, and now they understood that in order to generate additional growth and get market share and increase their size, then they need to focus also on acquisition, both in order to do market penetration and to increase the value proposition that they offer. Some of the IPOs that happened in the past 2 years. So Payoneer, Riskified, Hippo, Nayax, and Lemonade. Lemonade is a phenomenal company. They're focused on the US, but if you haven't heard of it, it's a very interesting model, insurance, peer-to-peer insurance model. If anyone's interested, of course, I'd be happy to share more information. We just don't have the time right now, so I'm kind of powering through this. The quarter by quarter of 2021, in terms of investment, what I wanted to show in this slide is actually this: that the average amount of investment is $43 million, and back in 2019 it was 22. So it keeps growing, the average investment and the maturity of the companies. So the companies understand that in order to create such a valuation, they need to show actual results. So they make sure to onboard clients to start generating revenues, or even being in growth stage, making acquisition, as you saw, in order to make their rounds much higher. I mentioned that most of the financing is coming from global markets, and you can see that it keeps growing. And it's not that the Israeli investors are investing any less, they're just being diluted by the amount of capital that is being injected in the market. And to tell the truth, most of the Israeli VCs are actually funded by global VCs. So at the end of the day, I'd say 90% of the capital is from a foreign market. Another impact that happens in the Israeli market is that most of the companies are focused on B2B or B2B2C. The fact of the matter is very hard to engage or target a market with a B2C product. It's much more, the competition is fierce, there are trust issues. For example, if a B2C company focuses on the Japanese market, it will be almost impossible for me to penetrate the market, or I'll need to put a lot of efforts and a lot of capital in order to obtain the market. Instead of that, I can focus working with financial institution in order for them to provide the value proposition. So most of the fintechs are focusing on that, and you can see a breakdown of the different sub-segment. Of course, personal finance management is actually on the rise, and we see more of that. But trading and investing is something that has always been a very strong segment in Israel. Some of the multinationals that are in Israel, this is a very short list. We help many of them on the scouting, on opening R&D centers. We're now launching an R&D center from a public company from Canada who wants to have access to small companies for acquisition and talent. So we're doing that, and all of these multinationals are here in order to make sure that they see the companies in a young stage, or even just for tech discovery. Even if they're not doing investments or implementations, they want to know what is there in the Israeli market. Remember, we're a market of 0.0001% of global population, but we still generate about 4% of total fintech globally. So it's not a market you can oversee. Okay, I wanted to go through the Israeli banking ecosystem. I'll just do this slide and then we'll stop, so we won't be, I don't want to drag being late for the other companies as well, because you have great companies to say today. Israeli banking ecosystem, it's really a marvel what's going on here. Population of less than 10 million. We have 5 dominating banks who provide the entire range of financial services. And what the smaller banks did, they kind of focus on a particular value proposition. So Phoebe is more for trading and capital markets, Discount for financing, and Mizrahi Tfachot is for mortgages. And this is their way to enter the market and say, convince the client to come to them, and then they reach the value proposition. They all generate a lot of fintech. Most of the fintech that we see in Israel is coming from the financial institutions. 2 reasons for that. One, they're very strong. They have a lot of budget behind them, and it's extremely competitive landscape. And the second, that the fintechs aren't really approaching with a B2C product to Israel because of the complications there is in order to duplicate it to another market. Different mentality, language, small market. So you don't see a lot of fintechs. In Hebrew we say, which means that We generated a lot of fintech, but we don't practice it in Israel just because the level of interest is not that high. There are also 3 very active credit card companies. There was a complete change in the market just several years ago, which made each of these companies, these credit card companies, were held by a bank, and there was an antitrust committee which decided that they need to relinquish their holdings. So now we have 3 additional players in the market with a lot of with a lot of clients who are also very active. So it's an incredible thing about what is going on here in Israel. I'd like to really thank you for the time. I'm 3 minutes late. I apologize for that. But truly, if there's any interest in the Israeli market, I'll be more than happy to navigate for you and assist. Any questions you have, you can contact me or through Daniel-san or Sagura-san. I'll be more than happy to assist. And thank you very much for the time. And I hope I shared some information that was new to you until now.
タルさん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
それでは、イスラエル企業のピッチへと移らせていただきたいと思います。まず、Exberry社、ヤニーブ・バラクさん、よろしくお願いします。Floor is yours, ヤニーブさん。
Thank you very much. Hello, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here and thank you all for joining this webinar, and thank you for the organizers. I will do it quickly because I don't have a lot of time, so I'll quickly share the screen. I'm from Exberry. We are Exberry. Exberry, as you can see, is the beating heart of the market. So just a second. Okay, so when you look at the trading infrastructure, the trading technology today, most of it is outdated. It means that the technology is old, sometimes 20, 30 years old technology that's ruled by giants like NASDAQ Technologies, CME, London Stock Exchange, etc. And this technology is very expensive. Sometimes you need tens of people in order to support this technology. And it's mainly cannot support the new asset that we see in the world today, not just crypto and NFTs, but hundreds of new digital assets that we see in the world today. And if you need to summarize the problem of the infrastructure of the capital markets, the exchange infrastructure, so it's outdated, it's unsuitable for new markets. It's a long time to market, to launch your market. It will take you between 3 to 4 years to open an exchange or marketplace. And of course, crippling cost and structure pricing. So what we did in Exberry and what we developed is we delivers a deep tech trading infrastructure that offers a turnkey solutions for exchanges, banks, digital securities, and digital asset marketplaces. We are allowing a close to zero time to market and a very flexible cost structure that are basically not possible in the existing leading solutions today. We are lowering the entry point so you can establish an efficient market and you can present a totally new reality for new and traditional players in the industry. So we need to look at the value proposition of Exberry. So our solution, we sell it as a SaaS. Exchange as a service, as we call it. So pay as you go and pay as you grow. You don't have to be tied to a 4 years contract, paying $3.5 million minimum a year. You can just start small and increase the budget and the transactions. We are totally asset agnostic, which means that our technology support any kind of asset you want to trade tomorrow. So it doesn't matter what kind of a market you want to open tomorrow. If it's a derivatives, commodities, t-shirts, shoes, music, futures, whatever you want to do, we can support it. It's a cross-platform solution, which means that we can put it on-prem, we can tag along to our existing technology, or we can very easily integrate to DLT-based settlement blockchain. We already have close partnerships both with DA, Digital Assets, and Algorand. Our system is very flexible, multi-tenant, and of course, very important, cloud native. We developed everything on the cloud from scratch. So this is what gives us the flexibility and the opportunity to lower the price and open a market in days. We have basically 3 solutions as for today that aim for 3 target markets. We have our core technology, which is a matching engine and trading engine that suits for mostly digital securities, digitized assets, and national stock exchanges and banks. We have our solution that we've released to the market around 3 months ago called Nebula. Nebula is basically a cloud-native A to Z complete trading ecosystem, which suits to digital securities and digital assets. Nebula basically gives you our core technology, but together with the UI, UX, onboarding, wallets, operations, and everything you need in order to have markets in the click of a button without writing even single line of code. And our third solution called Exchange in a Box. It's a complete ecosystem for highly regulated exchanges, including ledgers and clearing. And this solution we've built together with Digital Assets and Bay Markets, which is a clearing company, and it suits for national stock exchanges mostly. So we have tens of clients already around the globe. Our focus markets are US, UK, and APAC, but we have clients from all over the globe. One of the latest clients we've closed called Abex. As you see in our customers, Abex is a big regulated exchange that just replaced their outdated technology, and they moved from one of our competitors to us. They are doing exchange of petroleum and oil, regulated, as I said, in Singapore. And another one is Velotix, which is also regulated exchange in Singapore, doing spot trading on gold. But we have also a very, I would say, tropical and sexy other exchanges that doing, for example, futures on music, or trading esports or influencers and things like that. We have a wide partners ecosystem. As you can see, we have partners from many areas, from Finastra that we have strategic partnership there that working with them on banks, to GKEd that providing custody, and to Algorand that we've built together with them our solution called Nebula. So in areas that sometimes we don't really focus, we have partners that complete our ecosystem. We are a team of 19 people in Tel Aviv, London, Ukraine, and Romania. We are going to grow to around 35 people this year. We are growing very fast nowadays. Our team is a professional from the industry. Magnus, for example, is our head of exchange development, used to work in OMX, Acquis, Euronext, is 25 years in the capital market industry. Ronen, our CTO and co-founder, is a low latency, high frequency expert, and many others. And this is us. Thank you very much, guys.
ヤニブさん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
Thank you.
それでは次に、Velotix 社より、ウリエル・エクスタインさん、お願いします。ウリエルさん、floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sigo. I hope you can all hear me well, and I'm going to share my screen now. I hope you can see it, of course. So, yes, hi. It's a pleasure to be here, of course. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you. My name is Uriel, and I'm the Chief Business Data Development Officer and co-founder of Velotix, and we are solving the financial sector's data governance challenges. I'm going to move to the next slide. The total amount of data created, captured, copied, and consumed globally is increasing rapidly and reaching 64 zettabytes in 2021. Over the next 4 years, up to 2025, global data creation is projected to grow to more than 180 zettabytes. The growth was higher than previously expected, caused by the increased demand due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as more people worked, of course, from home, something that we all felt and experienced. We are observing an increase in both the amount of data accumulated and also in fines and penalties. Failure to comply with regulation puts enterprises in a vulnerable position, both in reputation and financial consequences. On average, there are more than 10 regulatory bodies in each country with more than 200 updates to regulations every day. But 95% of the compliance processes are done manually. Failure to protect data leads to significant financial and reputational losses, and entities must find a way to keep internal policies up to date with those enforced on them by regulators. As you can see, financial institutions are paying hundreds of millions of dollars in fines due to data misuse and access breach. Velotix offers an advanced policy-based access control engine that helps enterprises access and navigate the data lakes and warehouses in a compliant and secure way. We developed an AI-powered platform designed for managing and accessing large and complex data sets. Our patented technology efficiently enables managing the usability, integrity, and security of the data in the enterprise systems based on internal data standards and policies that also control data usage. We entered the market with a significant edge over our competitors, who have been unable to provide a comprehensive solution. AI is our key differentiator in comparison to other policy bookkeeping and data management solutions. Velotix allows the system to build a set of internal and external rules automatically while staying sensitive to changes. Unlike competitors who focus on a narrow process of controlling the information in the system, Velotix monitors and examines the information from the moment it is created through its path in the organization and makes it accessible to the various employees while maintaining the rules for using the information. Competing companies do not provide a complete holistic solution and do not perform automatic rule modeling or sensitivity to change. As for our value proposition, we bring data democratization by providing an efficient way to authorize data access to multiple data lakes and warehouses. Thanks to Velotix, employees will have a self-service data access experience with real-time authorization to data while complying with the organization's policy. And finally, Velotix will build and enforce the organization's policy catalog. We are going to the market with a B2B annual subscription fee model. The system is suitable for any organization dealing with large data sets and for use in the cloud or in local systems or in an integrated hybrid structure. Our go-to-market strategy is twofold: direct sales and partner with cloud providers. The system supports multiple clouds, and we are currently in the process of developing business partnerships with leading companies in our industry. Our team's experience and accomplishments speak for themselves. Our co-founders have a combined 3 exits, and our co-team has a combined experience of 15 years in the financial and compliance industry. Our leaders are guided and mentored by some of the top professionals in the field in compliance, data, finance, and raising capital. Established in 2020, our team has grown to more than 20 people, and we have already closed 2 fundraising rounds totaling $7 million. Our team has secured a collaboration with our design partners at Deutsche Bank, who have committed to production by Q4. In addition, we are part of a few well-known accelerators which have been instrumental in connecting us with future potential customers. I'd be more than happy to connect and answer any question you might have. Thank you very much for your attention.
ウリエルさん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. 次に、RevealSecurity より、ドローン・ヘンドラーさん、モシェ・ベノリエルさん、お願いします。モシェさん、ドローンさん、floor is yours.
park the car on the street, eh?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Doron Endler, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of RevealSecurity. And just for the record, we have changed or rebranded our name from TrackerDetect to RevealSecurity last week. So just making sure everybody on the same page. Now, RevealSecurity introduces TrackerIQ, and TrackerIQ is a solution that allows protections and detections of insider threats and impersonations in SaaS cloud and custom-built enterprise applications. So the focus is on who does what in the enterprise applications and be able to detect insiders that actually doing misuse, abuse, or malicious activities, or impersonations that basically steal credentials in your SaaS and cloud applications. So if you look on the cyber defense matrix, which many of the financials around the world are using, you can basically map your entire vendors on this map, and you can identify that around applications there is a gap around detections, and most of the solution today are legacy systems used based on rules, and this is exactly where RevealSecurity with TrackerIQ focus and position. We are an ADR, application detection and response system, focusing generically on all type of application on the business applications, which means SaaS, cloud, and custom-built applications. Now, there are two challenges, I would say, that you can address with TrackerIQ. The first one is the detection of insider threats. What is insider threats? Insider threats basically are the internal team, the authorized users that basically take their privileges and rights and doing misuse, abuse, or malicious activity inside your corporate application. So how can you detect who does what in your applications? It can be your custom-built enterprise application, but it also can be cloud and SaaS. And that can be from data-related, like exploitation of data, stealing data, payment fraud, claims, embezzlements, and so forth. So there is a lot of different areas where insider threats have access. They know the systems, they can create the damage, and the big question is how you can detect them quickly and accurately. So that's the first challenge. Second, many of the organizations are moving part of the digital transformation into SaaS and cloud. So you have trusted users, they're managing your cloud, they're managing your SaaS, they can determine all of these things that users can do. What happens if somebody steal their credentials and actually can define different users? What can they do? How can you detect that? And for that reason, these users can do different malicious activities. And it's very, very hard for detection in case of impersonations, and specifically around SaaS and cloud applications. So TrackerIQ helps on two fronts. One, identification of insider threats on the internal users, what they can do internally if they do misuse, abuse, or other breaches. And second, against attackers who are trying to impersonate legitimate users on your SaaS and cloud. And the focus is, of course, application layers. If you look on your detection landscape, you can see that the traditional systems are very much focused on rule-based engines, and rules are known as not effective, not accurate, very static, not designed to detect all of these threats today, and definitely are not able to scale across so many different things. So the big question is, what's the alternative? What's the approach? And the approach is something that Gartner has identified already back in 2020, that you need to look into the user behaviors, in the application behaviors, in the activity, or in the activity of user, what they do in the application, in order to detect anomalies. And there are two challenges around that. The first before challenges, and basically there are three generations. The first generation was rules, the second generation was correlations, and the third generation is basically user journey. User journey is something that other vendors have started to implement a solution around that. The first one was Cisco around NetFlow, but also the endpoint protection have started to evolve from antiviruses into an endpoint detection and prevention and solution like that. And we were following this direction and introducing Tracker IQ, which is a user journey analytic. Now, what is a user journey? What is a flow? And we would like to give the supermarket example. Let's assume that all of us goes to the same place, same time, same door, with same shopping list. And we buy exactly the same items. The only thing that will differentiate us is the journeys. Each one of us will have its own routes in the supermarkets. And we like to do this analogy. Each one of us will have our own routes in the applications. So Tracker IQ is a solution that looks on the user's journeys inside the application, is tracking the user's applications, and it can be implemented across application. This is one of the challenges. So one of the challenges is to support the multiple and the variety of applications. Second, each one of us has multiple profiles. Why? Because we have multiple routes. So we have come up with a solution that automatically track the user's activities, the routes of users inside the applications, build multiple profiles, and look for anomalies. Now, when we look on analyzing, we are frictionless, we are clientless, we don't need clients, and we analyze basically the activity logs. So if we analyze the activity logs, we are looking at the sequence. And this is the sequence. So we are agnostic to the meaning, and we can apply this to any applications. And basically, we are looking at what are the activity the user have done. And it's in the logs, it's in the audit trail logs that we can get from the cloud, from the SaaS, from your custom built applications. So we know what are the activities. We're looking at their order, what's the flow, what's the sequence of them, and what is the time intervals. And this is a generic model that can be applied to any application. It can be applied to Microsoft, to Salesforce, to Oracle, to legacy system, core banking, insurance, any application that have audit trail logs. And we can understand from this fingerprint, behavior fingerprint, who is the user, what he did, what's the flow, and what's the order. And then when you have so many different sessions, the question is what is normal, what is anomaly? And for that, we have developed this patent, unsupervised clustering engine that is able to look on these sessions and group them into groups. So he was putting all of these sessions in group number 1, group number 2, and all the time he creates new group based on new logs until he detects a sequence of activity by a user. And this sequence has not been seen in his multiple profiles. So Tracker IQ presents a new way, which is user journey in the application in order to detect anomaly activities. And of course, giving you the user interface for investigations. And we can do this based on your personal profiles or group profiles. So these are what our customers are telling about Tracker IQ. We can detect the things that you don't know how to look for, detecting the unknowns with extremely very high accuracy because of the multiple profile, per user, per applications, because of we're looking in the user journey. It's a generic solution. It can be applied to any application in any industry. And we also provide a very easy user interface for investigations. Thank you very much.
ドロンさん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much.
I hope the Japanese letters are correct.
Yeah, correct. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. それでは次に、金融庁総合政策局、総合政策課フィンテック室課長補佐の松澤翔太様より、海外フィンテック企業と日系金融機関との連携に関わる金融庁の取り組みについてお話がございます。松澤様、よろしくお願いします。
はい、よろしくお願いいたします。今、紹介に預かりました、金融庁フィンテック室の松澤と申します。今、スライド映ってますかね？大丈夫ですかね？
大丈夫です。
はい、ありがとうございます。今回も海外フィンテック企業と日系金融機関との連携に関わる金融庁の取り組みというところで、かなり手短にお話をさせていただきたいと思います。でまず私の自己紹介簡単にでして、私、金融庁のプロパーとして入庁しているわけではなくて、民間から入っております。で、キャリアとしては、 外資系の金融機関から日系の銀行、そして香港の、一つのファミリーオフィス、財閥系のファミリーオフィスで働いていました。なので、チェックポイントのところに書いている通り、証券、銀行、運用会社で勤務した後に、エベレストベンチャーズというところで、海外フィンテックへの VC 投資をしていました。で、そこのところで金融庁からお声掛けをいただき、特に海外のフィンテックというところを見れる人間として、こちらの金融庁の中で海外フィンテックの日本進出をサポートしたりだとか、あとは政府全体として国際金融都市センター構想というのも立ち上げておりますので、この中でじゃあフィンテックの企業だとか、それ以外にも金融機関っていうのを海外からどのように誘致をしていけばいいのか、そのところでのお手伝いをしているというところです。で、このスライドで私が伝えたかったこととしては、私のような変わったキャリアの人材にも声をかけてきて、変化の早いこういった世界にキャッチアップする柔軟な姿勢を持っているんだなということは、私自身もすごく金融庁に対しての評価が変わったというところで驚いたところで、共有したいと思いました。で、次にフィンテック室としての役割で、今回皆さんにちょっとご紹介をしたいなと思っているのが、まずはフィンテックサポートデスクとなります。これって、規制当局って簡単にアプローチして良い場所じゃないと私は思っていたんですよね。もともと民間にいた当時、金融機関にも勤めておりましたし、金融庁を含めて海外の規制当局も、基本的には弁護士の先生だとかに相談をした後、かなり詰めた後に話を持っていくべき先であって、気軽に問い合わせとかができるものではないっていうふうに考えてたんですけれども、今、実際には金融庁の中はかなりオープンに民間の事業者の方々とお話をしていきたいというようには考えておりまして、ただその時に、外から民間から見ると金融庁の中のどこの部室に、話をしたらいいのかがわからないと、例えば暗号資産関連で言うと、じゃセキュリティトークというお題目だった時に、それってじゃあ暗号資産を見ているフィンテックモニタリング室なのか、信用制度参事官室なのか、はたまた証券化なのか、そういったところって外からでは分かりにくいですし、私自身も今庁内にいながら、すぐにじゃあこの案件についてどこが今、所管するのかというのがすぐに分かるわけではないというところがあります。で、かつ1ページ前でお話しした通り、かなり柔軟な対応のために組織の変更とかも多いので、実際にどこが担当しているかっていうのは外からで分かりにくいので、そういった場合にはこのフィンテックサポートデスクというのをうまく活用していただければと思います。こちらでフィンテック関連の問い合わせ窓口を一本化しておりますので、ひとまずここにご連絡をいただき、そうするとフィンテックサポートデスクがそれぞれの担当課室におつなぎするというような形をとっております。で、次には、このじゃあサポートデスクに問い合わせが来た、内容としてどんなものがあるんですかというところで、お伝えしたいところとしては、それぞれって左上のところの問い合わせ内容というので、大半が許認可、業登録必要ですかっていうような問い合わせが多いです。で、右側の回答のところで言うと、ちょっと5割と書いているのにちょうど半分になってないとかいろいろあると思うんですけれども、半分程度 46% が、規制対応必要でしたよねと。ただ、3割ぐらいは規制対応不要ですね。このビジネスをやる上でというようなお話をさせていただくこともありますし、そういったようなお答えをさせていただいているので、結構そのカチッと固まってからお話に来るというよりは、監督の部局に行く前にワンクッションとしてご相談をいただくなので、多少は柔らかい状態でもご利用いただける、コンタクトポイントになっているかなというふうに思っております。で、直近の傾向で言うと、ブロックチェーン関係の、特に NFT 関連のお問い合わせが多いかなということです。もう一つご紹介したいのが、フィンテック実証実験ハブというところで、これは、金融庁を巻き込んだ実証実験ができるというようにお考えください。で、これはサンドボックスとは違いまして、サンドボックスは規制改革だとか、規制を変えていくみたいなところがあると思うんですけれども、この実証実験ハブについては、現行の規制の中で、実証実験をやっていきましょう。その時に、具体的な課題に関わるアドバイスだとか、法的な部分っていうのを金融庁も巻き込んだ状態でできますよというようなものになります。で、最後に、こちら、 今回のイベントもそうですけども、海外フィンテックミートアップというのも、一つのフィンテック室の活動として、継続的に行っております。これはどういうことかというと、日系の金融機関さん、その他、金融に関わる事業者の方すべてですね、と、海外のフィンテック企業というのを、まずは、それぞれの存在を知るきっかけを作ろうということで始まったものです。例えば、日系の金融機関の方々でも、事業者の方でも、海外への実際に投資部門を持っていたりだとか、協業部門っていうのを、それこそイスラエルに拠点を持ってらっしゃるような会社さんもいらっしゃいますし、もう自分の力で何とでもできるというところも多いんですけれども、それ以外に、海外のフィンテック、まずは協業前にどういうことが海外で起きているのかすらも情報としては取りづらい。もちろんニュース等でフォローすることは可能なんですけれども、細かくどういった会社がどういうことをやっているのかっていうことはなかなか知ることができないということもありましたので、こういった機会を作ることにしました。で、過去で言うとイスラエル、英国、ドイツ、米国、カナダ、シンガポールということで、フィンテックというので、結構ここ良いフィンテックが集まってそうだなみたいなところで、今はフィンテックミートアップを開催しております。で、各イベントの後、本日もそうですけども、ミートアップ、まずはピッチがあって、それからブレイクアウトルームで、かなり細かく質問をされた後、ただ、他社さんもいらっしゃるので、さらに、自分の自校ので、使う上では、もうちょっと込み入った話したいという場合に、ワンオンワンミーティングが設定されるのですけれども、それもかなり20件ほどイベントの後に設定をいただいたりしているので、いつもすごく積極的に皆さんにご質問とかもブレイクアウトルームでしていただいてて、大変感謝しております。で、ただ、ここにも課題も残ると書かせていただいているんですけれども、ただ、きっかけとしてまずは存在をしたところで、協業が進むかどうかっていうのは別の問題になります。で、特には大きくは2つ、よく挙げられる点が、日系金融機関側の受け入れ体制というところで、まずは英語対応、そしてそういったテクノロジーに関しての知見がある人間が、あまり揃っていないということから、結局、語学の壁、そしてそういった知識の壁のところで、協業のという道を諦めてしまうというお話をよく聞きますし、あとはこれとちょっと関係があるんですけれども、海外の、そのフィンテック企業が日本に来る際に、カントリーマネージャー、日本人のカントリーマネージャーがいるかどうかというのも結構気にされる日系金融機関の方が多くてですね、なかなかカントリーマネージャーっていうのは、市場に存在しない、そのスキルセットを持った人間ということでいうと、なかなか存在しないところもありまして、わがままを言えば確かに日本人のカントリーマネージャーいた方が良いかもしれないんですけれども、そうでないところから、どんどん開拓をしていかなければいけないような、今はもう状況にあるんだなというように思っておりますので、日系金融機関の方々に積極的にご参加いただいております。で、特にポイントになる部分は、海外のフィンテック本社、こちら側との、期待値の、なんですかね、共有というのがきちんとできれば、正直カントリーマネージャーを採用してもしなくても、それから日系金融機関側の受け入れ体制というところも、はっきり言って問題がないのかなと思っておりまして、日本側で進める場合には結構お時間かかってしまう。ただ本社サイドは特に海外のスピード感で、じゃあ1年で立ち上げてほしいだとかっていう考えを持ってたりしますので、そこら辺のすり合わせとかっていうのが、今後、今日のイベントを通して協業の道を、考えていかれるお会社さんにとっても、この点はよくよくご注意いただきながら、協業に関してお話を進めていっていただければなと思っております。はい。私からは以上です。本日ご参加いただきありがとうございました。私もブレイクアウトルームに参加させていただき、皆さんのコミュニケーションだとかを見させていただければなと思っておりますので、後ほどよろしくお願いいたします。
松澤さん、ありがとうございました。それでは次に、ピッチの方に移らさせていただきたいと思います。フォルター社より野田洋介さん、よろしくお願いします。
はい、こんにちは。お世話になります。野田と言います。画面共有いたします。見えますでしょうか。大丈夫ですかね。
はい、大丈夫です。
はい、改めまして、フォーターと読みます。の野田と申します。すみません、私一人だけ日本語なのかもしれないですが、日本語でやらせてください。今日、フォーターのですね、私、野田の、先ほどもちょっとカントリーマネージャーって話出ましたが、日本の事業統括しておるものでございます。 まずですね、今日ちょっと私どものコアのプロダクトを中心に、簡単に弊社の案内をご案内できたらなと思ってますが、我々何してるかと申しますと、e コマースだったり、あとは決済事業者さんですね、いわゆる B2B の事業者さん向けに、そのオンラインの取引ですね、デジタルになっているので、相手が見えない非対面の中で、その取引だったり、ユーザーですよね、信用していいですかという問いをにお答えするために、ソリューションを事業者様に提供をしております。で、その背景となっているのが、やはりこの e コマースで、やはり不正被害ですね、が、ちょっとこちらにグローバルの数字載せておりますが、大きくこの4つを我々課題意識として見ております。はじめには真ん中の2つですね。そもそも、不正被害額、いわゆる、クレジットカードでいうところのチャージバックという、用語にはなりますが、オンラインの万引きですね。物が盗まれてお金が入ってこないという事業者さんの損失だったり、その隣になるのが、悪用ですね。例えば、オンラインで、新規にクーポンを配って、で、複数にね、アカウントをものすぐ作られて、結局返ってこないというんですかね、ロイヤルカスタマーにならないという、そういう被害額が、大きく、この我々は2つ真ん中を注力しております。で、加えてですね、一番左、一般的にはこういう不正対策をするときはですね、まだ人間の目で、人それぞれ取引をですね、見て運用しておられる事業者さんが多いです。そこの運用コストであったり、で、ちょっと一番右に大きく出ているのが、ですね、まず、いいお客さんかどうかっていうのを、ご判定とまで言わないんですけど、摩擦をやっぱり与えてしまって、いいユーザーさんが取引できない、機械損失の金額っていうところが、一番大きく我々見ています。この4つをですね、課題意識として持って創業したのが、フォーターという会社でございます。で、我々、じゃあ何提供しているかと、その今の課題の裏返しにはなるんですが、e コマースの事業者さん、もしくは決済事業者さんに対して、これまでとはちょっと違ったアプローチで、より精度よくですね、判定をするということをご提供しています。平たく言うとものすごくいい人をちゃんと摩擦なく取引していただいて、で、悪い人は精度高く、限りなく精度高くブロックするというソリューションをご提供しています。で、結局のところ、それで何が嬉しいのというところに見ると、この3点でございます。上の2つは、先ほどの正確な、精度の判定を返すことで、まずは損失そもそも、いい悪い人をちゃんとブロックして減らすっていうのと、2番目は、先ほどの機械損失のところですね。本当はいい人だったのに、ブロックしてしまった、落ちてしまった方々を通してあげることで売り上げを上げると。で、3つ目は、我々これ全自動でやります。すべて AI の機械学習でプラットフォームを作っておりますので、運用コスト、目見をいらない運用コストを下げるという、この3つをですね、基本的なバリュープロップとして、事業者さんに提供している会社でございます。で、大きな特徴として、我々のようなベンダーだったり、一般的なこの不正検知のやり方は、今の3つのですね、価値提供っていうのは、上げています。ですので、これまでと、基本的に変わらないというよりは、文字にすると変わらないんですけど、大きく、やはり我々が特徴としているところは、これまで、一般的には、こういうツールは入れてみないとなかなか効果が分かりづらい、分からないっていうところがあるんですね。で、ただ一方で我々、非常にそういう意味では、精度に自信を持っておりますので、契約段階で、そのビフォーアフターですね、我々導入するビフォーアフターの姿に関して、その導入効果をコミットします。で、具体的に申し上げると、我々その売上のところは承認率という KPI ですね。どれぐらいの方々がコンバージョンしているか。で、損失の方に関してはちょっとチャージバックと、これちょっとクレジットカードの損失になりますが、の低減に関して、アフターの姿を契約書に数字で明記をして、で、費用対効果をですね、もう契約段階で事業者様にもう見ていただくというところを大きな特徴として我々事業者に提供しております。で、今日ちょっと詳細ですね、じゃあどうやってるのというところは詳細割愛させていただきますが、もう簡単にざっくり申し上げると、先ほどもちょっと前のプレゼンテーションでルールベースというちょっと言葉が出てきましたが、 これまで一般的にはルールベース、何か条件に当てはめてブラックリストを作ったりですね、それに当てはめてリスク判定をするのが一般的なやり方なんですが、我々、それも属性情報だったりですね、名前とかも見るんですが、ユーザーの振る舞い情報ですね、ちょっとこの上にあります。振る舞い情報をやはり収集して、非対面なんですけど、裏に誰がいるかという、必ず人間がいますので、その人間が本当に信用できるか否かというところのアプローチをとって、精度高く判定をしております。で、この技術、特許を取っておりまして、で、今現在、年間でですね、だいたいグローバルで27兆円の流通額、取引を見ておりまして、デジタル ID といっている我々の後ろにいる人間ですね、電子指紋のようなものは、今10億以上の蓄積資産を持っているものでございます。で、ちょっと今、決済のお話を、お支払いのところをしたんですが、e コマースであったり、オンラインのビジネスでやられているとですね、別に支払いだけではなくて、例えばアカウント開設で乱用されたりとか、アカウント乗っ取りですね、アカウントの不正乗っ取りが問題になっているとかっていうお悩みもございます。そちらも、我々、ソリューションのスコープとしてご提供しています。で、最後に、ちょっとこれ我々、導入いただいている事業者の一例ですが、大きなところですと、eBay だったり、ナイキさんだったり、去年から私が日本の事業をスタートしておりまして、日本の今の事業者さんも多く活用いただいております。で、最後に会社概要ですね。今日はイスラエルのミートアップってことなんですが、創業がイスラエルでございまして、今本社アメリカに移っておりますが、日本のオフィス、先ほど申し上げた通り、去年から開設して日本の事業者、日本ビジネスを開始しております。で、ご覧の通り、セコイアはじめトップティアの、VC に、累計ですが500ミリオン以上、資金調達をして、今まだプライベートで事業運営している、そういう会社でございます。ちょっと駆け足になってしまいましたが、また後ほど、お時間いただいて、より深いディスカッションできればと思います。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
野田様、ありがとうございました。それでは次に、グラスボックス社のドローン・エフラトさん、お願いいたします。ドローンさん、floor is yours.
Michael-san will take over.
Okay.
Hello. It's an honor to present to you today. Thank you for your attention and time. My name is Michael Horowitz. I'm leading product marketing at Glassbox. Glassbox's mission is to help companies deliver frictionless digital journeys for their customers. You could say we are making the digital world a more pleasant experience for everyone. So allow me to give you a quick example. So this is a fictional hotel, and we're going to check in and reserve a room. So I'm going to choose my dates. I'm going to choose, how many guests I want. I'm going to see what rooms are available, and I'm going to now see, okay, let's look at this room. Let's continue the booking flow. I'm putting in my name, my email address, my phone number, and I'm going to try to choose the number of guests that I want. So I'm clicking up. The form doesn't seem to be responding to me. Maybe I try to enter in the number manually, and then I get a validation error. So these are the kinds of things that happen on your websites to your customers all the time. And we would ideally not want to wait till a customer complains and or even worse, goes to a competitor, but get ahead of it and see where these problems are occurring and see if we can fix them before they impact your business KPIs. So this is the augmented journey map of Glassbox. It maps all the flows through your website of your customers. And so, for example, here, if we can see people going through to the reservation confirmed stage, we can see that those that are going to this single room seem to be dropping off at a very high rate. That's this bar, this red bar here. And Glassbox actually gives you an indicator as to why that's happening. We can see that they have a high number of experience-based struggles. So we know there's an issue here. We have a hint as to what is happening, but we can go further and quickly investigate and try to understand, okay, so what are those specific struggles that are happening here? We can see there's some validation errors, there's rage clicks. In other words, the customer is clicking on something that doesn't respond the way they expect it to happen. And then we can go ahead and actually see the sessions that those users had from their perspective and see what happened. So if we go ahead and replay one of these sessions, so again, this is within Glassbox's system here. We can actually see exactly what happened when I was showing you before on the website. So we hit play and we start seeing what the customer was doing and what they were entering into fields and what they were trying to do. And if we want, we can actually jump straight to any struggles. So for example, here we have this unhappy face. The user was performing a rage click. We can see that they're clicking indeed on this field that has to do with choosing the number of guests. And so this is going to help you not only see where the problem is, but why users are abandoning. And you can go ahead and now actually share from this point to your other teams that might be relevant to fix this. So you are proactively catching the problem, then quickly understanding what's happening, and then you're even enabling your other teams to kind of get a jump start on reproducing the issue and fixing it. And if you actually wanted to, you could go ahead from here and create a quick funnel on the spot that goes back in time and actually sees how many users were impacted by this issue. So you can kind of just drag in what pages they were doing, where they were clicking, and so on. And you'll see a funnel if we were to create that, which I won't do here. I'll just go back to the presentation. Just one more thing I'd like to show you. And you could actually share from any one of these stages, and you could also tie into your other tools, so it can be automatic and get alerts on that. So going back to the presentation, how does this work? You understand the value, but how do we make this happen? So Glassbox is actually behind the scenes capturing everything that happens on the website, then automatically visualizing it in charts and heat maps and in journey maps, automatically analyzing it for struggles and for other anomalies, and then connecting it to your business KPI so you can figure out how to drive customer satisfaction and revenue. So it's all about optimizing the journey, prioritizing it by impact to business, fixing issues faster, and working more efficiently. Some of our customers, we work across different verticals, different areas of the world. What unites them all is their focus on digital as a strategic channel and their commitment to improving the digital experiences. And to leave you with the Big World Digital Experience, Glassbox has received awards in all the different categories, actually over 150 awards in total. So it was an honor to present to you today. Thank you for your time and attention. If you want to learn more how we calculate experience scores and insights, please be in touch and enjoy the rest of the presentations.
ミハエルさん、ありがとうございました。Thank you very much. イスラエル企業のピッチは以上になります。